So I'm changing these up where they'll be nice and good numbers. So we're going to start back over with that last one. And if you have the notes already printed out, go ahead and change these to these numbers. So we're going to do 27% of what number is 54. 4 is what percent of 16. 40% of 120 equals what? And 70.5% of 7,400 equals something. Okay, so these are going to be a lot more manageable. So in the first one, I ask you for 27% of means times. What number is x? Is means equals 54. So you're going to do 0.27 x equals 54. Because remember, we move it to change from a percent to a decimal, we drop this and move it 2 places. So I'll divide by 0.27 on the left and divide by 0.27 on the right, and x equals something. Remember, when you're dividing by a decimal, back from previous sections, you can't divide by a decimal actually, so you move it over until you get a whole number. If I moved it 2 places, I move it 2 places inside as well. So I'm dividing 27 into 5400. So 27 goes into 54 2 times. And it actually goes evenly right there, but I still have to hold those positions, so I'm going to put zeros out there. So that x would equal 200, and that's a little bit more manageable than my last one. Okay, looking at the next one, it says 4 is, what percent I don't know, of means times 16. So writing that a little bit better, 4 equals 16x. Well, when you're solving an equation, you always want to work on the x side. So I'm going to divide by 16 over here and divide by 16 over here. So 1/4 would equal x. Now, it asks you what percent. Well, 1/4 is a fraction, right? So we need to change that fraction to a percent. So to change it to a percent, I'll divide 4 into 1 using long division. 4 goes into 10 2 times. And 4 goes into 25 times. So this would be 0.25 as a decimal. To write it as a percent, I'll move it over 2 places and add the percent sign. So when it asks you for what percent, it's going to be 25%. Excuse me. Okay, so that's how that one would look. Now let's try another one. I'm trying to make it where we can write a little bit more. Come on. There we go. Okay. So looking at our next one, I ask you, I say 40% of means times 120 equals, and it should say like equals what? Okay, so that's what we're looking for. So this one's going to be a lot easier than the last ones, because all we have to do is multiply them. So remember that 40%, to change that to a decimal, I'm going to drop the percent and move it 2 places to the left. So this is going to say 0.40 times 120, and that's going to be my value. 120 times 0.40. Now 0.40 is the same thing as 0.4, so that makes it a little bit easier to multiply. So 4/10 is the same thing as 40 hundredths. So those are the same number. So if I multiply this out, I'm going to get 0, 8, 4, and I'm going to move my decimal place one place. So I'm going to get the answer 48. Okay, looking at our last one, it says 70.5%. Okay, so what that looks like is 70.5% of means times 7,400. Okay, so we're going to fix those calculations. Well, remember, to make it a decimal, we're going to drop this percent sign and move it 2 places to the left. So we're going to get 0.705 times 7,400. Okay, so we have 7,400 times 0.705. So we'll multiply it out rather. Okay, so there's where my 0 would go, and then we can multiply by the 7. So we get 0, 0, 28. That's 49, and 2 would be a 51. And I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3 places. So I should get 5,217. Now my little marker is playing a trick on me. So I'm gonna double check it. And that looks right. You might have something like that in your MyMathLab, but I know you're not going to have any of those in your quiz because those numbers are just too large for the quiz. Okay, so then it asks you an original cost problem. 2, 3 more. We're almost done. You made $23,100 last year after a 5% raise. What was the original salary? So that's how it looks. So your original salary, I don't know. That was the question where it says what was the original salary. But your raise was 5%. So to turn that into a decimal, I'm going to drop the percent sign and move it 2 places to the left. So it was 5% of the original salary. And my new salary was $23,100. Now, if you look at these orange X's, there's an understood 1 right there holding this place. And so if you put these two together, you're going to get 1.05x. And then we'll just solve it out. So we'll divide this one by 1.05, and we'll divide this one by 1.05. So x equals something. Okay, so we can come to the side and divide it out. Okay, I can't divide it like it is right now because it's a decimal. So I'm going to move my decimal 2 places, which means I move my decimal 2 places here. So 105 goes into 231, it goes 2 times. So let me rewrite it a little bit neater. There we go. Okay, so it's going to go 2 times right here. So 2 times 5 would be 10, and 2 times 1. And then 105 times 2, that would be 210 again. Remember my decimal's right here, so I have to put zeros to hold the position. 1, 2, 3. So the original price is $22,000 even. That was the original salary before the raise. The parking lot has 75 cars in it and 92% are blue. How many cars are blue? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll drop the percent, move it 2 places, and so we get 0.92. So if we take 75 and we multiply it times 0.92, this is what we get. Okay, so I'll multiply by the 9. So we're going to get 69 cars are blue. Remember, if you move your decimal 2 places here when you're multiplying with decimals, if you have 2 places in your factor, then you also have 2 places in the product. So we got 69 cars. A washing machine that sells for $369 is on sale for 30% of the regular amount. How much was the discount? Okay. So let's see. This one's tough. The wording of it is tough. Let's see. It's on sale for 30% of the irregular amount. It's selling for $369. Okay. So you have the original price minus the discount equals the sales price. Now, it tells you that the washing machine sells for $369. It's on sale for 30%. Okay? So remember, if it's 30%, you're going to move it 2 places to the left. So that's 0.30. So you're going to have your original price minus your discount. And your discount is 30% of the original. Now in front of this red X that you see on the front, there's an understood 1. So if you take 1 minus 0.30, you get 0.70. Okay, and here's what I did with that. I took a 1, I had 1 minus 0.30. I think of that like money. So if I had $1 and I subtracted 30 cents, I would have 70 cents left over. So that's how I got this 0.70. I'm going to divide both sides by 0.70. And X is going to equal something. Okay, so let's divide that out. If I move this over 1, 2 places, that means I have to move it 1, 2 places in the divisor, in the dividend as well. So this is 70, and it goes into 36900. Okay, so 70 doesn't go into 36, but it'll go into 369, it'll go 5 times. Okay, 70 doesn't go into 19, but it'll go into 190, and it'll go 2 times. Okay, a 0 here. Bring down the 0. And 70 goes into this 7 times. And of course I give you one that doesn't divide evenly again. Sorry about that. I'm picking it from some of my math labs, so you might run into this from time to time. And so if we're looking into 100, that's going to be 1 time. So it should be around $520.71. Somewhere in that little ballpark. Let me divide it all the way out just to make sure though. So we had a 70 there and a 30 to do the rounding. 70 goes into that 4 times. Yes. Okay, so it's 520.71. I knew something didn't look right with it. almost done with the class. Hang in there, especially those of you that are taking it as a mini term. You're almost done. Hopefully they don't give you many like this that have these terrible numbers. So I'm going to move it over 2 places and move it over 2 places. Let's go through it one more time. 70 goes into, write it properly. Okay, 70 goes into 369 5 times. I'm going to go a little faster and make sure it's correct this time. Okay, so 70 will go into this 2 times. Now, I got a little carried away and sloppy, and that's what made me miss it last time. There's a 5 and a 0, and we bring down this 0. So I had a stray 0 in there because I didn't line my numbers up properly, and that was definitely my error. So make sure you're lining your numbers up properly. 7 times 7 is 49, so that would be 490. So this is 10, and then we can bring down our decimal, our change. So this will be 1 time. I'll go into this 4 times. Okay, so when we divide this one out, that's going to be 2 times. So that's not going to round it up. So x is going to equal 527.14. But the question didn't ask you for the original price. It says what is the discount, right? And so if you took the 527.14 and you subtracted 369 from it, then what you're going to get, that just subtracts out. This is 17 and we borrow. This is an 8. We have to borrow here. And this is a 5 and a 1. Let me double check my numbers. So the discount for this washer was $158.14. So that was a pretty good deal.